Well, thanks for joining us once again this week on Queensland All-Important Finals Edition. We count down the prelim final down the road at Suncorp Stadium. I'm Adam Jackson, joined today by the Broncos' last premiership winning captain. Hopefully that drought ends soon, Locky, and the main man, Salty, filling in for the King today. Big shoes to fill for you, Salty.
Yeah, but I don't know what the criteria was to sit in this chair. I think it was they don't have to raise any more money for hair care and all that.
We saved on the makeup. The hairspray, yeah.
Exactly.
Go.
Good to be here.
Yeah. As we get ready for that huge clash between the Broncos and the Panthers, Locky, it'll be almost 2 years to the day they met in that epic grand final. Do you think, in a way, it's still a little bit in the back of the mind of the Broncos?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think for most Broncos fans it is.
Yeah.
When I thought 2015 was rough, 2023 was harder, given the circumstances of where we were to win that game. So, and I think you throw in the fact that Penrith are now vying for their sixth straight grand final, fifth premiership in a row. They're a team that I guess a lot of people are nervous about, and the Broncos would love to stop their run this weekend.
Yeah, do you think the same, Salty? It's a little bit in the back of their mind, maybe seeking to avenge that defeat?
Oh, I don't think it's in the back of the mind. I think it's right in the forefront of the mind. Regardless of what we're going to hear publicly throughout the week, I think it's only natural for those players that were involved in 2023 for it to be there. And if used the right way, it can be used as a magnificent motivation for Brisbane to be the team to exact some revenge on Penrith and to be the team that stops the Panthers' run of 4 premierships in a row. Because at the moment it's looking like no one's going to stop them to get to 5. So let's see what Brisbane can do on Sunday.
Yeah, I guess, Locky, you can look at the positive of, it's a mental drain, but if you beat the Panthers in a prelim, then you're thinking you can do anything?
Oh, yeah, there's that element, but I guess it's just one. It is a cliche, but it's one game at a time, and the Broncos have got obviously an advantage playing at home. It's going to be a great atmosphere, but they are playing a team that knows how to win big games.
Yep.
Regardless of where they play, whether they're at home or away, they know how to win. So this will be huge for the game, huge for both clubs, and I guess whoever wins, whether it's Penrith or Brisbane, they'll take a huge amount of confidence going into the grand final.
And watching them dismantle the Bulldogs in their last finals appearance, what do you think the Broncos might have learnt watching that Panthers' big win over the Canterbury?
Try to limit the opportunities that those two magnificent wingers get. That's first and foremost. Alamotti has been sensational. That's one of the great selection masterstrokes from Ivan Cleary. Thomas Jenkins been brilliant all year, but he's gone with Alamotti in his big finals games, and he was terrific on the weekend. And Brian 17 tries in 17 finals games. So now I know a lot what happens inside there will decide how those wingers go, but the strike that they've got out wide, they are just so good. But where's their weakness?
Yeah.
I mean, Locky, that's the one thing, isn't it? There's no weaknesses in this Panthers team, or is there?
Well, there's not. I think they've always, and they've done it for the last 5 years. If they lose players, they just bring that mentality of next man up, and in they go. Alamonti's a great example of that, right? So he's just come in and he's gone to another level in that culture, in that system. And I think when going into the Bulldogs game against Penrith, you just knew in the key moments to win those big games, the state of origin experience of Edwards, Cleary, that was sort of, you knew that was going to play its part. And it's, similar, this weekend's is going to be the same.
I find it amazing after all these years in finals, Brian Toto, you mentioned there, Salty, whether it's finals, club footy, origin, nobody's found a way to contain him. He's probably the shortest winger in the competition, but he just gets through so much work and he's so dangerous.
Well, just the work rate. I think Alamotti gets chosen ahead because he's a stronger body, a bigger body, so he's got that ability to get between him and Toto to get the set started.
Yeah.
So Dylan Edwards gets the ball in the full probably more than any other fullback, and the first thing he does is run forward. He sprints forward, gets the set started on the front foot, then the wingers come in and do their bit, then the forwards take over, and then away Nathan goes.
Yeah, and the Bulldogs did have a little bit of luck towards the end of that game. They targeted that left edge, Salty. They had a few tries there. Do you think the Broncos would have been looking at it? Maybe like Reece Walsh, that's an area, an avenue he tries to go down?
There's no doubt Reece would have been watching that. There's no doubt Michael Maguire would have been watching it as well. And that's one of Brisbane's strengths, isn't it? You know, just to be able to hit and test opposition defences out wide. Their backs are just in terrific form. Obviously, Reece, and I know we're going to get to the new look Broncos team very soon, but you know, Katoni Staggs, Gemma Shibasaki, I thought were both very good against Canberra. Josiah Karapani has been playing really well. They won't be daunted by the challenge that's in front of them.
Yeah, Katoni Staggs is my pick for Player of the Year for the Broncos. Who would you guys go with? Question without notice. I think if Katoni Staggs doesn't win, he's in the top three. Like Payne Haas always polls highly. I think Pat Carrigan was the winner last year, the joint winner.
I think Katoni's had his best year for the club.
Yeah,
it's been consistent. You know, I think a lot of us Broncos fans love watching Katoni when he's got that aggressive streak in him, and he's done that consistently this year. Just his aggression in his defence, his running game has been, and I think it sets the tone for the rest of the team when he's on like that.
Yep.
It's hard to go past Katoni. It is, I think, when you're talking about a club award, for this one being the Paul Morgan Medal, you still get votes even in losses. Yeah. And when Brisbane lost some of those games, he was still Brisbane's best player on the field. Billy Walters might go okay, but there's a large part of the season he was coming off the bench.
Reece Walsh was good towards the back end, but missed kind of like start of the year with that knee injury.
Yeah. So I'll go with Katoni, I think.
Yeah. And speaking of Player of the Year awards, shout out to Herbie, was the Dolphins Player of the Year award, despite missing the final 5 rounds for there, just beat out Qatar. But still on the Broncos, the last time they met, Locky, was Magic Round. It was a Sunday afternoon game at Suncorp Stadium. Nathan Cleary ran riot there, 32 points to 8 victory for Penrith. What do you think they learned from that? Don't get up in his face, limit his opportunities?
Well, remember Nathan scored that try, which was pretty much identical to
it was PTSD for Broncos fans, yeah.
Look, there's no doubt the Broncos they're in a better frame of mind and they're playing a lot better than what they were at that time of the year.
Yep.
What you need to understand, it's a bit like when you go into a game against the Storm. You have to be prepared to get into the arm wrestle and stay in it for very long periods of time. And you've heard Madge say all year that there's snippets of what we can do, but we just don't do it long enough.
Yeah. And
that's the key when you play Melbourne, Penrith. You have to be willing to get into that arm wrestle and stay in there as long as the opposition are and wait for your moments. And that'll be the same for this weekend.
Yeah, and with the team changes, Salty alluded to it there before. So Reynolds is being given the green light to return. In the halves with Hunt, it means Ezra Mam on the bench in that kind of like super sub X-factor role. Guys, what do you think about that? And is it too much of a risk bringing 2 guys back from hamstrings in the same game?
I think you've also got to have one eye on the following week. I know we're talking about 1 week game at a time.
Yeah.
But to have, I think I remember Wayne Bennett did this with Shane Webke. I do think you need to get some game time. If you haven't played for a month or so, you need some game time in a prelim to get yourself to A, probably understand physically whether they're ready to go for a potential grand final appearance, and B, to get some, I guess, timing or some confidence going into a potential GF. So I'm not predicting that that's what Madge is thinking, but I reckon he's hedging his bets here that if we do get through, he'd love to have those 2 guys available with a bit of game time under their belt.
Yeah. The advantage too is for Brisbane is that the forwards on the bench, if something does go wrong with one of the returning players, the forwards on the bench, Tulty, Hetherington and a returning Xavier Willison, and I'll mention him in just a moment, but they're all capable of playing big minutes. We know Payne Haas is capable of playing big minutes. So if they do go down a player, I think Brisbane's got the cover there. And just going back to Xavier Willison, there's one player that I don't think's been spoken about enough in returning to the team, because when Brisbane returned to form after about, around 16, 17-ish, he was arguably Brisbane's best player, or at least best forward during that time.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
He was at Broncos training today with the, I don't know, what do you call it, the Shane Webke Memorial Arm Guard or Petro Memorial Arm Guard. They just reel it out.
We called it the wheelie bin.
The wheelie bin, yeah. It looks like that. It's big, thick and chunky. So, yeah, good luck to Xavier Willison.
He won't be able to use it, though, the way that it was used in the past, to really clean up some players. Yeah. Have that big arm guard on. Yeah.
And again, obviously with Paddy's not there, and I think we'll get to that, but the perfect scenario is that they all come out, they all get some game time, and they get a result. Then it's really good preparation for the following week.
If all does go to plan with the Ezra Mam experiment off the bench, when's the best time to inject him into the game?
Well, I think if you look at the way he's used Corey Pakes now, I'd probably stick to that. And then when Corey's ready to come off, then Ezra comes on and Hunt goes to hooker.
Yeah, so maybe about 30 minutes or so?
Yeah, to go, yeah.
Depends on how it goes. Yeah, on Pat Carrigan being out suspended, that's a huge loss. But Salty, watching training today, it looks as though the Tyson Smoothie will start in that lock forward position. What do you think about that? Yeah,
Tyson's defence has been really good. It has been all season, the opportunities that he's had. So they won't lose much there as far as defensively is concerned, but what they do gain with Tyson is his ball playing ability. Mind you, Kobe Hetherington has got that ball playing ability as well. Remembering when he came up through the Queensland Cup, the Host Plus Cup as it is now, he was a 5'8" at North, and he's played a lot of hooker as well, so he can use the ball as well. So, but Tyson Smoothie, he won't let anyone down in that role, but they are going to miss Paddy.
Yeah, and it's a lot smaller body too. Like Paddy's really good with that aggression that they'll probably lack. Locky?
Yeah, not so running game, yes, but what Pat's been doing really good lately is his defence. He's been getting off the defensive line with speed and looking to whack. Kobe Hetherington can do that, and I hope he does do that this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm sure Madge would be sort of saying to him, mate, when I get you into the game, you're coming in there to add some impact, and in particular with your defence. So Paddy will be missed. But sometimes when that happens, when you lose a key player like that, it makes the rest of the team go, well, righto, we need to all lift 0.5% each.
Yeah. How will Paddy be feeling? Like, how nervous would he be watching that game knowing he can't influence the result?
Oh, I think I don't know whether... I think he's just thinking, guys, let's get the job done and I can play in a grand final with you.
Yeah, okay.
That'd be... Like, I think I don't know whether there's the fact that he can't control what's going on out there. It's more about... I think he just wants the team to get through, so we're all going to a grand final and he can be a part of that.
Yeah, and of course it takes place at Suncorp Stadium, Salty. Full house, Sunday afternoon, Suncorp Stadium. How beneficial will this be for Brisbane?
Oh, it's going to be massive. The only thing is, you mentioned about what happened in Magic Round, the 32-8 victory for Penrith over Brisbane. Panthers love playing during the day.
Yeah.
They, in their last 26 day games, they are 26-0. So that is an amazing stat, that they love playing during the day. Let's not forget too that Penrith are coming to a ground this week to play where they played a grand final qualifier and a grand final when they started their run in 2021. I think it was Parramatta they beat in the preliminary final, then South in the grand final. They are used to playing big games down the road at Suncorp Stadium. Another thing too that I'd like to mention when it comes to Penrith this week, and I suppose it too applies for Cronulla in their game against Melbourne on Friday night, is that Brisbane aren't playing your traditional bottom four of the top 8 side, because we talk about the week off this time of year. The Panthers did have a week off.
Yeah.
That week that Ivan decided to rest everyone was in fact the same week that Cronulla had the bye. So both of those teams in the bottom half of the top 8 go into these games this week having had a rest, and we haven't really seen that before. So the decision for Ivan to rest the players in round 26 could, and a couple of them didn't even play round 27 either, could, I think, come back to be, just a bit of a thorn in the side or masterstroke, absolutely.
Yeah. Like once they knew they couldn't make the top 4, like it was a brave but smart decision, and they're seeing the results of that now. I think what happened last Sunday against the Bulldogs was a great example of what they can do in a daytime environment. I can't remember the last time the Broncos played a daytime, the Raiders, but I can't remember the last time the Broncos played a daytime final in Brisbane.
Remember they played the Dragons but lost? That would have been like ages ago. I think that would have been Seibold's first year coaching the Broncos. Yeah, I know. It's hard to believe the Dragons actually made the finals. Sorry for
they played Parramatta. It was Parramatta at Combank.
Oh, yeah, that could have been it.
I'm talking about in Brisbane,
In Brisbane.
Yeah. I'm talking about...
Might have been in 98 when you played the Roosters on a Saturday afternoon at ANZ.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
In my mind, they played the Dragons on a Sunday afternoon at Suncorp.
Okay, we'll have to get Middo on.
Can we get Middo onto the phone post-match show, which they lost badly? It might have been... Wayne might have still been coaching there, but I'll have to look it up. But you've played finals at Suncorp, Locky. How hopeful is it as a Broncos player?
Oh, look, I think we've got a double header too. The girls are on before, and I think it's going to be a huge day in terms of people, excitement. Just the city will be buzzing on Sunday. In terms of helpful, look. The only thing that makes me nervous about all that is it's Penrith.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If it was another team, I'd think we'd have a bigger advantage. But because it's Penrith, who we just alluded to, they towed us up at Magic Round. They've won a grand final here. They've won a qualifying final.
They have a heap of Origin players who have beaten us at Suncorp Stadium.
So, and a lot of those guys played probably in Game 3 last year. So there's just that doesn't. It doesn't intimidate them one bit.
No. Yeah. What do you think about playing Sunday footy? They've reverted to this new format during this year's finals series. You like the Sunday afternoon finals matches?
It's different.
Yeah.
It's certainly different. Look, I don't mind it from a fan's point of view. And I don't think it'll be an excuse if whoever wins on Sunday, if they lose the grand final, because you've still got 7 days to get ready for a grand final. But it's different. Look, it's great. The league are the ones that wanted to go out and do it, and we love Suncorp at night. We love it any time of day. You can play a game at 2 a.m. and it'll be fantastic. But there's something special about rocking up to Suncorp Stadium around lunchtime and the build-up, and it's just going to be a really special afternoon. And if you can't get to Suncorp, folks, you watch the footy, both games, then you watch 9 News, then you watch the block. You don't have to go anywhere.
That's it. Perfect place to be on your couch on a Sunday arvo into the evening. Yeah. What are your thoughts, Locky, on that change?
I'd probably answer the question after Sunday.
Yeah.
I just think, because I can't remember the last time the Broncos played a final in the daytime at Suncorp. So that's... look, it will be a great atmosphere. I thought Sunday, the Bulldogs first Penrith was great. The atmosphere there, coming through the TV. We had the Canberra Broncos game down in Canberra, which was one of the best games you'll ever see in your lifetime. So I think there's something special is going to happen on Sunday.
Yeah, and based on the ratings success that they've had leading into the news, and for all the broadcasters, I think they'll continue with it next year. But I'd just like to see a bit of a tweak. We got onto it last week of maybe a 2-week lead up to the grand final, because I just think it's a bit unfair to give another team a 2-day advantage, given that the Storm and the Sharks will play on the Friday night and the Panthers and the Broncos are a Sunday afternoon.
Not that like touch wood, but we see it in the AFL. So there was one Geelong player, he got concussed.
The exact point we made last week. He's one of their best players.
This is the grand final.
Yeah, due to concussion, and I fear that is going to happen. Fingers crossed it doesn't happen this week, especially to one of the gun players. But I think eventually down the track that will happen. So we need to work against it. But that Friday night game that you'll also see live and free here on 9, the Storm up against the Sharks, boys. How do you see that one panning out?
I'm going the Sharks.
Oh yeah, okay, yep.
I just think Melbourne have not nailed a complete performance yet. There's something that's just still hasn't clicked there. And for mine, the Sharks, defensively, they're on.
Well, there you go, Nico Hines. Someone in the media is backing you. So, Sharks, you can relax. Someone's talking you up for once. But I fear the opposite of your point, because the Storm haven't clicked. They're so good. They're so professional. We've been waiting for it to happen. I think this is the moment on their home turf. Pappenhausen's back. Jerome Hughes has been named. So I don't know how that works.
He'll get a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
Rome.
That's what makes me nervous.
I've had the fortune of calling Cronulla the last couple of weeks, so seeing them firsthand, and they have been really good. I mean, you talk about coming into the finals and getting your defence right. They conceded 10 points against the Roosters and 12 points against the Raiders. Now, I know the Raiders were without Ethan Strange, but they still easily contained Jamal Fogarty, Kyo Weeks, Hudson Young. They all got well contained. They contained the Roosters with Sam Walker and Mark Nwanganita-Waze and Teddy as well. They've only conceded 22 points in 2 finals games so far. I think they can get the job done. So when you're talking to Nico, there's 2. I think you can get the job done. And the Caboolture Snakes Junior, Braden Shrindle, has been absolutely killing it. I think that they're going along well. I love the Storm and have great respect for Melbourne. And it pains me to do it, but yeah, I think Cronulla can make it through to the grand final.
Yeah, there we go. 2 big calls. Another one we can claim is Toby Rudolph, because he won a Queensland Cup grand final with Redcliffe. I remember commentating that game with you and Sats. How good's Toby Rudolph? Just having an out-and-out character in the game?
Well, he broke his try-scoring duck against for the season against the Roosters in week 1 of the finals. Word has it, when Cronulla eventually do have a Mad Monday, he'll still do the nudie run. But he's just a great character. And nothing false about him. I love Toby Rudolph. I think he's a great player. He's playing some sensational football. So he's I think we can claim him as one of ours up here.
They all look really fit.
Yeah.
Really fit, all of them. And you've got to have those characters in your team. You've got to be able to break the ice from time to time. You've got to have a smile. You've got to have a laugh.
Yeah.
By the way, I have texted Middo. He hasn't got back to us yet on that stat that we were after before. Must be he's sleeping at the moment, because he only sleeps 1 hour a day. He just does stats for the other 23.
Yeah. And I guess the Sharks have the benefit. They haven't made too many changes to their team the last couple of years. Like, they've been there and thereabouts in finals, and they've continued to bomb out. But how beneficial do you think that would be, to have that kind of like galvanised group?
No, I think it helps. But you've sort of, every time you talk to one of the Sharks players, they've had a deliberate focus on defence.
Yeah.
The phrase "defence wins premierships." Well, it does, and they've just. You can just see it. Their line speed, their intensity with that, they're hitting strong. And then the other thing they did the other night, and this is what all good teams have to do to win premierships, is try-line defence.
Yeah.
Their goal line defence against the Raiders was outstanding, and they'll need to do that again this week.
Yeah. And not just NRL finals on at the moment, Queensland Cup finals. We saw 2 great prelim finals on 9 now on the weekend. Redcliffe Dolphins and Burleigh Bears. The poor old Reddy Dolphins got run down. Burleigh Bears into the grand final. They'll face the North Devils, who defeated Winner Manly. North Devils are the Penrith Panthers of the Q Cup, so they're aiming to win their 4th title in the space of 5 years. They've been quite phenomenal, Salty, the Devils.
They have. I don't know how they got out of that game against Wynnum on Sunday. Wynnum gained the lead with, 5 or 6 minutes to go, and then Norths quickly scored again. Burleigh, though, I've been really taken by them.
Yeah.
I think they're playing some really good footy. 2 great prelims. They were really good prelims. Well done to Burleigh. They got team in both grand finals this week. In the BMD Premiership, in the women's grand final, they'll take on the Brisbane Tigers. And then it's Burleigh against the Devils. And I really don't know who's going to win. I think it'll be a flip of the coin, as they say.
If you get a chance, you'll be able to go back on the 9 Now app and watch those 2 prelim finals. Both ended up 18-16 victories, both amazing finishes, so you can watch it there too. And Cobbo actually came back, Locky, and played for Winner Man. Yeah, he was actually all right. He seemed quite committed. It was good to get a game under his belt in case he needs to play for the Broncos.
Yeah, look, I think, he probably looked a bit fitter than what I thought he might, because he'd been out for a little while, but he's come back, he's done the little things right, and he's given himself an opportunity. If the Broncos are to win, if someone goes down for whatever reason, he might, you never know what, because if he doesn't get another game with the Broncos, well, he's on to the Dolphins next year.
Yeah. He's so versatile, so he can fill in anywhere. And that Q Cup final is actually Broncos versus Dolphins, Burleigh Bears for the Broncos, and North Devils for the Dolphins.
Who are you tipping?
I think Burleigh have Burleigh didn't play that great in the prelim, so I just get the sense, kind of like the Melbourne Storm, they can't play 2 bad games in a row. But North's Devils, I think I've tipped against them in every grand final they've played, and they just keep proving me wrong.
Well, they're playing out at
KO Stadium, so it's a
that's a Dolphins. Yeah, so they'll get the crowd advantage.
Yeah, so a little bit of a neutral venue, but yeah, you'd think the crowd would be supporting North Devils.
Kenny Bromwich with a big chance to go out, a premiership winner.
That's it, yeah. Heaps of Dolphins players were there. And my boy Jack Ahern keeps on going, the firefighter for the North Devils.
I saw him and I'm thinking...
Yeah, he retired 2 years ago,
I'm going, wow, he
came back.
Going.
Yeah, so...
And who wins the Petro Civoniceva medal this week?
Oh, geez, that's a hard one. I really like Guy Hamilton, who's the halfback for the Burleigh Bears. He's an excellent player. Like, Hamilton and Jack Ahern are probably the 2 best players who haven't played NRL that I've seen in the Queensland Cup. Josh Rogers has also been going really well from the Broncos, who's playing for Burleigh. And Peter Holler's been strong in the North Devils forward pack, so they're one of my 4 tips.
There is also another bit of news out of the Host Plus Cup, and that is Jim Lenihan, who was assistant coach at the Titans, is now the coach of the Brisbane Tigers from 2026.
Oh, there we go, yeah.
So that's about to be announced, depending on when you watch the podcast. So well done to Jim Lenihan.
Yeah, he was heavily involved with the Burleigh Bears too previously, so continuous success. I got another text message. Maybe it's someone telling us when.
I just got text messages too. I'm like...
Here we go. The Broncos lost a qualifying final to the Dragons during the day at Suncorp Stadium in 2018 in Brisbane. So Wayne was still the coach.
Yes, that would be Wayne.
And then the following year they lose to Parramatta at CommBank Stadium.
2018, right?
Yeah. But 2018 was last time.
Okay.
Well, given this is the last show before the Dally M's get announced too, what about an early tip for that? One of my big calls earlier in the year was Cartel for the Dally M. I think he'll poll very highly, and I'd be surprised if Cartel isn't the halfback of the year, given the other halfbacks have been in and out in terms of injuries and unavailability. But
I'm Tedesco.
Yeah.
I'm the same.
Yeah.
I think James Tedesco. I'm one of those people who think Coach of the Year should be announced probably after the grand final. But what Ricky Stewart did this year, because it's rounds 1 to 27. I think that he's got to be Coach of the Year. Like Craig Fitzgibbon, what Ivan's done with this Penrith team as well.
Even Madge in his first year taking over the Broncos.
The narrative changes after the round 27.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you're going from 1 to 27, I'm with you, Ricky.
Yeah, okay. And Wolfie deserves to be nominated, I think, what he did with the Dolphins, the injury hit Dolphins. So he
0-4, weren't they?
Yeah, so he should make the shortlist. But I think we all can see James Tedesco wins the Dally M medal. But the focus this week on all those prelim finals, especially here in Brisbane. Hopefully the Broncos get another victory and head to the grand final and end their premiership drought. And you catch all the action live and free right here on 9.